Hey there, welcome back to my garden. Today we're going to be planting in 3 different butterfly bush. I have experience with 2 of them, one of them I do not, but I love butterfly bush and I am excited to get 3 more into my garden. They're super low water, which is awesome. Not only are they drought tolerant, they just actually don't really need a lot of water. Um, Deer don't like them. They have a little bit of a smell to them that I like, but I guess deer don't like them. So I've never had deer come in and eat mine down, and I have a lot of them on the outskirts of our property where the deer are more likely to frequent. So I love that. They bloom all season long. Beautiful, striking color. The foliage is a little bit unique because it looks a little different than the rest of the green things in the garden. They're just a really, really reliable plant. And of course, butterflies, pollinators, they absolutely love them, which is, why they're named what they are. So one thing is that I live in Western Oregon, and it used to be that we could not plant butterfly bush here because they became very invasive. Um, I can't really think of any places where I drive along freeways or whatever where I see a lot of butterfly bush. There's definitely other um, plants that are much more invasive, and from what I see, such as Scotch broom. It's absolutely terrible here, but we were not able to purchase and plant butterfly bush for quite some time. Thankfully, the people in the plant breeding world figured this out, that this was sad for those of us in areas where it is invasive, and they started creating varieties of butterfly bush that are sterile. So they don't set seed, they don't, obviously set seed and come back and become invasive, which also makes them consequently bloom more profusely. When the plant doesn't set seed, it's continually trying to create seed, so it continually blooms. And that is just another one of the benefits of these new varieties of butterfly bush. So, like I said, I have experience with 2 of these. They are part of the Miss series from Proven Winners, very, very popular. And then one of them I had never seen before, and I'm really, really excited about it. Okay, so the first one we'll be planting is Miss Violet. So you can see how interesting this is, that the new buds come out almost like a pinky color, but look at this dark color that they become with kind of the lighter pinky color within the flower. And look at how long that is. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but that's probably a good 10 inches long. Can you see that? It's just amazing. So this one has a little bit of a interesting open habit. All of the other Miss butterfly bushes that I have, they tend to be much more upright. I think this is just how this one is growing in the container, and next year it'll be more upright like the other varieties. But you can see on this one, there's just buds all over the place. So where this one is coming out, look at all those little side branches, and they all have buds on them. So these can be deadheaded. I like to personally deadhead my butterfly bush when they're a size that I can manage to do that on, just because these bloom stalks are quite substantial and they're kind of eye-catching when they're out of bloom. They're not terrible. You can see this. It just kind of takes on a little bit of a dry purpley color. So it's not awful, but if I can, I like to go ahead and deadhead them. So this one is, like I said, it's called Miss Violet. 4 to 5 feet tall, 4 to 5 feet wide. You can see the color on that, how beautiful that is compared with the chartreuse behind it, which you guys know I have a lot of that in my gardens, and I love it. So again, here on the tag it says non-invasive, never needs deadheading, and I think because these have become so popular, they are really readily available. I've never had a problem finding any of the butterfly bushes in the Miss series, so should be pretty easy to find for you if you're interested in this. So we have Miss Violet, and then we also have Miss Ruby. And actually, Miss Ruby, I have her right in front of this spirea here. This is actually a very close color to what Miss Ruby is when she's in bloom. I have a couple of these, and they are just absolutely stunning. So this one has the same stats as Miss Violet, 4 to 5 tall and wide, also non-invasive, doesn't set seed. It also has fragrant, the buds are fragrant. And like I said, the deer don't tend to like that. I love the smell of butterfly bush. It's kind of a sweet, I don't know how to describe it, but I love the smell of them. So this one is really full in its can. It's kind of struggling a little bit. It's been hard for me to get it watered. I should have probably been soaking it in water just to really hydrate the root ball. So it looked a little bit better when I got it as far as the fullness on the bottom. But you can see this is basically the structure that these will have. And I'll show you some in the landscape when we go out there to plant these. But this one's a bit more dense than the Miss Violet, and this is actually how they tend to grow in the landscape. So also have the Miss Ruby that we're going to be getting in. And here's the one that I don't have experience with. It's a variegated one. Isn't that pretty? I just saw the foliage and I was like, that looks a lot like a butterfly bush. I wonder if it is. And at this place where I got it from, they're pretty discreet in their tags. So yep, it's a butterfly gold, 5 to 6 feet tall and wide. It says it's also a very fragrant shrub. I had to look this one up to see what color it'll bloom because it doesn't have, the buds aren't obviously open yet, and it'll be a purple. I'll put it up on the screen, picture of it so you guys can see it. So this, I love variegation in my gardens. I try not to do it too much because I just think too much of it is a little overwhelming, but here and there dotted in, I just think it's actually absolutely stunning. So, and I think that because this is a butterfly bush and they tend to like full sun, that this variegation won't burn, I'm hoping, and that it'll, bloom just like all the other butterfly bushes that I have. So I am going to put this one in the cart too, and we're going to go put these in the places where I'm going to plant them, and we'll get them in the ground. All right, the Miss Violet is in. She's down here in this lower bed on the very outskirts of this new no-dig bed that we just started putting in this year. Um, it's so hard sometimes for me to put some of my favorite plants, this far kind of on the outskirts of a garden bed. But I mean, every space, I guess it should matter. So, and I thought this was a good space for her because it is on the edge of the property. It's kind of as far away from where the dogs sleep as possible. And this is the area that the deer would probably come in primarily. They've already, you can see this evergreen right here. They've eaten that up. They nibbled on there's a camellia over there that they ate on. So, this is a good area for plants such as butterfly bush. Now, I will say my mom did have deer eat on her butterfly bush, but I've never had it happen in my garden. So it could, but generally speaking, they're a pretty deer tolerant plant. So anyway, over time, it'll get pretty close to the lemon cypress that's in front of it. But butterfly bush are so easy to kind of control with pruning. They like to be pruned early on in the spring, just as soon as they break dormancy. A lot of times mine here in zone 8B don't even lose their leaves. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog breathing. He's right next to me, and he's a very loud breather right now. But anyways, a lot of times they don't even lose their leaves, so they're still pretty evergreen. And then I just have to kind of cut them back. Usually, I can cut them back to like 2 feet, if even probably even further. So it can be size controlled. I would really love it for the height, and I'll show you when we go over to plant these other two, a couple other more mature plants in the Mist series, so you can see more closely their habit. But anyway, this is where this one ended up, and I think we'll be able to see it from up there on our front porch, especially once she gets taller. And yeah, one concern I do have, I guess, is that it's not going to maybe get enough sun here. It'll get early morning sun throughout the day, but these trees here do cast some shade, and butterfly bushes really do like full sun. So I will have to keep my eye on that. If it stops thriving, then I may have to find a different spot for it. I was originally thinking over in that bed over there, but I thought, maybe before I cultivate that bed a little bit more, I should just go ahead and fill this space in. Okay, and then for the next two, we're headed over there to where you can see those foxglove. It's just crazy. It feels like fall right now. Look at those clouds, and it's chilly out, and it smells like fall. It feels like fall, but it is the beginning of June. the other two butterfly bush are in, and they are both in this new bed that we just put in early this spring. And I'm hoping that, move over here so it's a little bit easier to see the catalpa back there. It blends in so much with the grass, which is also kind of why I was wanting butterfly bush here, because this bluish green stands out against the grass that's in the back of that, and then also the variegated, of course, and then the very, very bright dogwood shrub that's right there. That's a neon burst, and it is so bright. But anyway, I'm hoping that the colors all mesh well. I know that the variegated one is a very light purple, and then this one is a bright pink, and then the catalpa is kind of, I've not seen its blooms in person, so I'm just hoping that it works well with the Miss Molly, and they look good together. And then especially because on the other side here, right behind me, this is an Asian moon butterfly bush, very big, and it's a darker purple. And then you can see here's another, the Miss series. I'm 99% sure that these two are Miss Molly, and I'm just hoping that the color over here of Miss Ruby doesn't clash, I guess. I'll have to see. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you can see in the distance right up there, I'm pretty sure that's a Miss Ruby. And I mean, I don't know. There's so many different colors in this garden that chances are it'll be fine. But again, as I always keep saying, I feel like time will tell. But I am happy to have those guys in there. I think that's a great spot for butterfly bush because it is kind of far from our house. They are, like I said earlier, low water needs. They have low water needs. And so I won't have to come out to this bed too often and give them water. And this is a very full sun spot. So I think that they'll appreciate that. So anyway, as I was saying too before, this is the habit of the Miss series. You can see how kind of upright that is. It's not too wide open and splaying like some butterfly bush of the past. Even the Asian moon right there, as tall as it is, and that was cut back to probably 2.5 feet. You can see on this one, this is the old growth right here, and it's put on a good 2 to 2.5 feet of growth so far this season. Both of these have. This one seems to get a little bit taller, even though they're the same variety. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, they grow really well, and they are a very happy shrub. So anytime anybody asks me for an idea for a low maintenance, deer resistant, drought tolerant, beautiful shrub, I always suggest butterfly bush. I just think that they are a kind of a foolproof, no-brainer shrub that are beautiful, attract pollinators, very easy to care for, all the things. Just have to cut them back generally one time, and then they do the rest, and you don't really have to do much for them. So if you don't have any butterfly bush in your gardens, I really suggest that you add some. There's a number of different colors that you can pick from, and I'm excited once mine all start blooming to maybe give you a tour just of the butterfly bush that I have, because there's probably, I don't know, there's a number of different varieties that I have between the low and behold, between the low and behold ones, the Miss series. I have some pugsters. I have some that aren't part of the Proven Winners lines. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions about butterfly bush, I'm happy to answer them if I'm able to. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.